Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Jennifer with Journeys by Jingle, where we believe in global travel, royal treatment, and endless possibilities. Today, I want to pull back the curtain a little bit and talk about something I get asked all the time. What exactly does a travel advisor do? Because honestly, a lot of people think travel planning is just clicking book now on a website. But the reality is, there's so much more that goes into creating a vacation that actually feels effortless, personalized, and memorable. And honestly, travel planning has become more complicated than ever. Did you know there are over 25 separate steps involved in planning a Walt Disney World vacation alone? Resort selection, ticket selection, dining reservations, transportation, lightning lanes, park strategy, timing, virtual queues, special events, budgeting, room location requests. The list just keeps going. And if you're trying to figure all of that out while also working full time, raising kids, juggling schedules, and just surviving life in general, it can feel overwhelming fast. And that's where I come in. I help clients through all of those moving pieces so that they can stop feeling stressed and start feeling excited. And it's not just Disney. Every cruise line has a completely different vibe. Every resort has a different atmosphere. Every destination has hidden pros and cons people don't realize until they're already there. One of my favorite examples is Disney Cruise Line. One, people are always surprised when I tell them I've booked quite a few adults only groups on Disney Cruise Line. Most people automatically assume Disney equals kids everywhere all the time. But honestly, Disney offers one of the highest levels of service at sea. Incredible dining, beautiful adult spaces, amazing entertainment, and for some adult groups, that level of service and detail matters more than whether there are characters on board. That's the difference between booking a trip and matching someone with the right experience. And sometimes the biggest value I provide has nothing to do with the actual booking itself. Recently, I was talking to a nurse who had already planned her honeymoon to Cancun. The trip was booked, flights booked, resort booked, everything looked good. But when I asked how they were getting from the airport to the resort, she had no clue. And if you've ever been to the Cancun airport, you know exactly why that matters. The Cancun airport can feel chaotic, especially for first time international travelers. There are aggressive salespeople everywhere, trying to pull tourists into random transportation offers, excursions, memberships, all kinds of things. Getting scammed 30 minutes into your honeymoon is not the vibe. So I helped her arrange a reliable private transfer service and educated her on exactly what to expect when they landed, where to walk, who to ignore, what signs to look for, and how to safely find their driver. And honestly, knowing that transportation was handled removed a huge amount of stress before they even left home. That's the kind of stuff people don't always think about until they need it. Even with flights, and technically I don't book flights, but I still have opinions because I will never understand why airlines think someone can make a connection in under an hour at JFK while changing terminals. No, thank you. If I'm helping clients review flight options, I'm looking at connection times, airport layouts, time of day, weather risks, and how realistic those connections actually are. Because missing a connection can completely derail the beginning of a vacation. And then there's TikTok. Listen, I'm on TikTok. TikTok can be amazing for travel inspiration. But using TikTok as your only vacation planning resource, that can get risky. A resort may look absolutely stunning online, but maybe nobody mentioned that the beach is covered in sargassum half the year. If I know a destination is entering peak sargassum season, maybe we shift the dates, or maybe I suggest a resort in a protected area where the beach conditions stay much nicer. Those little details matter, and that's exactly what today's episode is about. What my planning process actually looks like behind the scenes, and how I help clients create vacations that truly fit them. So, every vacation I plan starts with an intake form. And honestly, that form tells me way more than people realize. Of course, I ask the basics: budget, travel dates, destination ideas, number of travelers. But what I'm really trying to uncover is, what kind of experience are you actually hoping to have? Because two families can both say, we want Disney. But one family wants a rope drop to fireworks with nonstop rides all day long. And another family wants slow mornings, pool breaks, character meals, and easy transportation because they have toddlers and strollers. Those are two completely different vacations. And then after the intake form, I really like to schedule a consultation call because this is honestly one of my favorite parts of the process, because this is where I start connecting the dots. A lot of times, clients come to me with a very specific idea already in mind: a resort they saw online, a cruise line a friend recommended, a hotel they found on TikTok, or a destination they're convinced is perfect. And sometimes they're absolutely right. But sometimes what they think they want is not actually going to give them the vacation experience they're dreaming about. One example that immediately comes to mind was a family of 5 planning a Disney vacation. Initially, they were looking at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort because technically it sleeps 5, and they assumed that was automatically the best option. But once we started talking about their actual priorities, things changed. They had younger kids, they wanted easier transportation, they were worried about long walks after exhausting park days, and honestly, they needed more physical space in the room. So we talked through another option: Disney's Art of Animation Family Suites. Now, technically, that moved them down a resort category from a moderate to a value, but functionally, it gave them way more room, easier transportation access, less walking, and a setup that fit their family so much better. And that's something people don't always realize. The higher category option isn't always the best option for you. Another example was a girls' trip I helped plan recently. A few women in the group really wanted a vacation together, but several of them were absolutely terrified of cruising, like full anxiety about being stuck on a ship in the middle of the ocean, Titanic. So instead of forcing them into a traditional cruise experience, I designed the vacation around what would make them feel more comfortable. I booked them on a short 4-night Bahamas sailing aboard Utopia of the Seas. And instead of an ocean balcony, I put them in a Central Park balcony room, which honestly was perfect for them. They still had the luxury and openness of a balcony room, but they never actually had to stare out at the ocean if they didn't want to. And because it was only a 4-night sailing, they only had one sea day. So instead of trying to cram in activities, we intentionally designed a super relaxing day: sleeping in, brunch at Mason Jar, spa time, and all of this resulted in slow pace, no pressure, and no time up on the Lido deck overlooking the ocean. They absolutely loved it. That's the kind of personalization that changes how someone experiences travel. Once I fully understand the vision, I start researching and building the proposal. And honestly, this is where a lot of the behind the scenes work happens, because I'm not just looking at price, I'm looking at the overall experience. I'm thinking about things like, how much walking is involved? How overstimulating is this resort? Is this traveler introverted or extroverted? Do they want adventure or relaxation? How important is convenience, and how much downtime do they need? Are they early risers or slow vacationers? How stressful will transportation feel at the end of a long day? And family dynamics matter too. A multi-generational family trip requires a totally different planning style than a honeymoon. A girls' trip has different priorities than a family with toddlers. First-time cruisers need different support than experienced cruise travelers. And honestly, sometimes clients don't even realize what matters most to them until we start talking through scenarios. The internet can give information, but it can't give context. TikTok can tell you what someone else liked, but it can't tell you whether that same vacation will work for your family, your priorities, your energy level, or your stress points. And that's why personalized planning matters so much. Once clients decide on the vacation that fits them best, I handle the booking process and continue supporting them throughout planning. And honestly, one of the biggest things I emphasize is travel insurance because things happen. Flights get canceled, weather changes itineraries, people get sick, luggage gets delayed, cruise ports change, connections get missed. Travel insurance is one of those things people hope they never need, but when they do need it, they're incredibly thankful they have it. And then there are the moments where travel gets unexpectedly chaotic. I can't even tell you how many clients I've had get stranded in Dallas overnight because of flight delays or cancellations, especially when people book the last flight out of Dallas at night. Y'all, please stop doing that. Because if that last flight gets canceled, now you're competing with everyone else for hotel rooms at midnight. I have literally booked airport hotels for clients on the fly while they were standing in the airport trying to figure out what to do. And at that point, details matter. Does the hotel have an airport shuttle? How late does it run? Is the area safe? Can they get food nearby? How quickly can they get back to the airport the next morning? Those are stressful moments for travelers. But having someone help guide you through those situations can make a huge difference. And honestly, that ongoing support is one of the most valuable parts of working with a travel advisor. At the end of the day, my goal is simple. I want your vacation to feel easy. I want you to feel confident that every detail was thoughtfully planned around your family, your priorities, and your travel style. Because great vacations don't happen by accident. They happen through thoughtful planning, education, strategy, personalization, and support. So, whether you're planning Disney, Universal, a cruise, an all inclusive vacation, or something completely different, I'd love to help you create a vacation that truly fits you. You can start the planning process through my website at www.journeysbyjingle.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.